Hey there, Internet world. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Wherever you're tuning in from, welcome. You have stumbled yet again into Kari's Corner. Welcome to the corner. Welcome to my little corner of the world. I'm so happy that you're here. If you're new and you've never joined Kari's Corner before, please make sure you drop in the comments. I love people who have been here before. You guys know I love to hear who you are, where you're from. Are you an RN? Have you accepted a position? Do you know where you're going? Any of that fun information that you can throw my way. I love to see it. I love to read it. I love to hear about it. All of those wonderful things. I will stop and give you a shout out oftentimes, especially if you're from somewhere that I'm super, super jealous of. Currently here in the U.S., I am located outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I am looking at a bunch of yucky rain. Yep, that's what I'm looking at over here today, folks. But good news, it's March. Can you guys believe it? It is March. We are literally, March is appropriately named because we are just marching on through the year. February and January to me always feel like just the slowest. Hello in Gambia. They just in the United States, they feel really, really slow because it's after the holidays. We've given into our New Year's resolutions, all those wonderful things. And then it's all of a sudden March. And over here in the US, it's springtime. So trees are blooming and that's causing a lot of allergies. So if I sound a little congested today, sorry, folks. You guys are nurses. You hear it all the time. You understand. But hello in Kuwait. Hello in Nigeria. We are so happy in Haiti, Colombia. We are so, so, so happy to have you here today. Today, if you've stumbled into Kari's Corner and you're checking us out, today what we're going to talk about is one of my favorite things to talk about. I actually just spoke about this with our amazing case managers, did a fun little workshop. But today we're going to be talking about the listening test. And I know a lot of you out there are like, they don't care about my listening score. I just have to have an overall score of, fill in the blank, whatever test you're taking. Well, they do actually. They do actually really care about your listening score. And your listening score, the higher you get your listening score, the higher you can get that overall score, which looks great, right? Your English score is a representation of your English skills. And when you get to the United States, that could be something they look at. They pull out and they see like, oh, you scored really well on this test. It's a representation of you. So you want to do well in every aspect of the test. But I love talking about the listening test in particular and how to get those listening scores up. I do want to kind of throw out a fun little tidbit of information for those of you, for nurse aides, RNs, if you're trying to get a hold of your case manager this week, our amazing case managers that I have been able to meet, all of our Idaho office now, all of our Charlotte office, everyone is in Charlotte right now doing what's called Case Manager University. And it's a week-long event of training and team building and activities. And so your case managers are becoming better case managers this week. So if they're not responding to your emails as quickly as you would like them to, or probably as quickly as they normally do, they are all in Charlotte and they're all undergoing a really cool professional development opportunity brought to them by Worldwide. So I have to just give a huge shout out though, because our case managers are in training all day long from 8:30 to 5. And then we usually have some type of dinner event for them as well. And I'm getting emails from them at 8:30, 9 p.m. at night because they care about you guys so much. They are truly invested in your journey. So they may not be getting to as many emails, but after a long day of working and learning and team building, they're still logging in. They're still checking on you guys because we know as case managers, we know at Worldwide that you guys are the reason we're here. So I do want to put that kind of public service announcement out there. Please be patient with your case managers this week, both nurse aides and RNs. But having met all of them every one of the Idaho and Charlotte teams. Holy smokes. You guys are you don't know how lucky you are to be speaking with, emailing with, working with the amazing people on the other side. They are so awesome. They're some of the coolest people I've ever met. So I hope you guys know, give a shout out to your case managers, whether it's a nurse aide case manager or an RN case manager, because man, they deserve some serious shout outs. They are such an awesome team. You guys are so fortunate to be working with them. If you're in the earlier phases, you're with our phase 1 team, you're with our awesome Philippines team. And I can't say enough amazing things about them. So if you've joined the Worldwide family, welcome to the family. You know that you've got a great team working for you. If you're shopping, if you're looking for a place to help you find a nursing position or a nurse aide position, if you're looking around, Worldwide is definitely the place for you. I can say that. I've been here now for almost a year, and I love this family just as much, and if not more, than when I was introduced to them on day one. So enough love and cuddles for the day. We're going to be talking about how to become a more effective listener. Hello in Kuwait and Nigeria and Kenya. Holy smokes, Kenya. Still so jealous. So jealous. Send me some giraffe pictures. That's all I want. I just want pictures of giraffes. All right. So how to become a more effective listener. Listening is one of those things that we think we're doing all the time. And we think, we're actually listening all the time, or we're listening when people. Shout out to your hardworking case manager, Joniel. Yes, 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 yes. Laura, oh my gosh. Prince, you have Laura. Laura is so kind. Oh my goodness, she is so kind, so wonderful. Such a cheerful person. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Nice weather even in February here in Kuwait. Usually it's not. Well, hey, you enjoy that good weather today. So looking at increasing those listening skills. And to all of my nurse aides out there, your case managers are always asking, if my nurse aide, hello in London, if my nurse aide, or if my nurse aide wants to take an English exam, which English exam do you recommend for them? The English exam I recommend for nurse aides is actually the Pearson PTE. And if you're an RN out there, you'll probably say, yes, Pearson PTE. It's probably one of the most user-friendlies. Laura Bonilla is the best professional lady. Absolutely. Laura B she's so good. We have two Lauras. So Laura L, Laura B. Laura B is super awesome too. I absolutely love her. I'm going to see all of these people in person today, and I'm going to tell them that you guys are giving them these shout outs. They love to hear that. So national shout outs, worldwide shout outs. I love it. But if you're a nurse aide and you want to take an English exam and you want to have one under your belt, you want to have one to kind of boost up that resume, to boost up if you plan on coming to the US and then eventually becoming an RN, a Pearson PTE is absolutely the route I would suggest for you to go. And if you have more questions about the PTE, I've done a couple of PTE shows. So if you go to our YouTube channel or scroll through the Facebook feed, YouTube's probably easier to find previous shows. So check out the Pearson PTE if you're a nurse aide looking to take an English exam. Hello in the Philippines and the UAE. Absolutely. So looking at effective listening. Listening is a key component of communication. Without effective listening, communication breaks down. It affects productivity and it affects work relationships. So some people are like, why is listening even on the test? Because as nurses, that's a majority of your job, right? You have to listen. You have to listen to your patients. You have to listen to your superiors, your bosses, other nurses. That's how you get information on how you can help. So you don't know how to help until you listen first. So listening is a really key component of the test, and it's really, really important. Moving on, why? Why is listening so important? Well, it's the key to effective communication. It is. Listening is the key. It's not speaking. We always think, that the advice we give patients or the information we give patients is the key. Before you can do that, you have to listen to them. You have to listen to them. And so many times, I know as nurses, like I said, my little sister's a nurse, so I love nurses. But so many times you may start, especially if you're, in the ER or you're in a practice where you kind of hear the same things over and over, and you hear them start listing symptoms off to you, and you already in your head, you're like, oh, okay, they have the flu, they have strep throat. You know kind of already, but try not to do that. Make sure that you are actively listening to everything the patient says, because they may throw something in there that may make you go, oh, okay, maybe it's not this, could be something else. So listen to everything, listen to all of the symptoms. My father-in-law, may he rest in peace, my father-in-law used to say that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And the reason for that is because we should be listening twice as much as we are speaking. Let that reality hit you in the face, right? Boom. Huge. 2 ears, 1 mouth. You should be listening twice as much as you speak. Hopefully that kind of inspires you to work on your listening skills today. So a proficient listener, and this is in any language, a proficient listener should be able to comprehend the information being conveyed. That is, they can identify the main ideas and supporting details. And that's what these tests are looking for. And it's really hard. And I know from you guys. So what I did at Case Manager University, I did an ESL workshop, and I showed your case managers snippets from the IELTS, the TOEFL, the PTE. I made them do an IELTS Part 2 speaking task. And they were all like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like, they all got really anxious. They got really nervous. They, were listening to they were like, I showed them a snippet of what you guys had to read. And they were just like, I couldn't answer this. I couldn't do this. And these are native speakers. So on the listening test for you guys, number 1, you're listening to something that's not in your native language. Hello in Tanzania. So you're not listening in your native language. So you have an extra step in there of that processing, right? You have to translate it. Then you have to understand it. And when you're listening to these tests, they're not going slow and they're not repeating. You're not allowed to listen to repetition of these clips that they give you. So it's really, really hard. Listening is hard because if you miss it, it can throw your whole thing off. It's just listening to me, in my opinion. I know everybody's always like, the speaking. Listening to me is the hardest portion, 100% the hardest portion. An effective listener. So you have a proficient listener and then you have an effective listener. Effective listeners are that's a higher score, right? They can analyze information and they can make inferences and judgments. Okay. That's where you're going to get a higher score in the listening category. We're aiming for a proficient listener. So what does active listening look like? And the reason I want to talk about active listening is because this is really important in the speaking exam, especially for those of you out there who are prepping for the IELTS, right? You're going to be in person for your speaking exam. And body language is huge, massive in the speaking portion. Now, I know we've talked about how the examiner sometimes can give you what I affectionately like to call the dead fish face. Okay. You'll come in, you're smiling, you're happy, you shake their hand. Hi, how are you? And they look at you like this. And they just stare at you the whole time. And you're like, how am I supposed to respond to that? How am I supposed to smile to that? But you got to. So active listening involves what's called displaying verbal and nonverbal signs and their responses to show the speaker that you're listening. So it's the nodding your head while they're listening. So while they're reading you a question, nod your head to show that you understand. You can say mm-hmm or okay, yes. Little words thrown in there to show that you're listening, you're active listening. Sometimes there's a lot of memes out there between like husbands and wives. And the wife will be sitting there, of course, telling a story. And as women, I know we don't always get directly to the point. We have to give you, the 10 years backstory before we can give you the actual story. And so husbands will a lot of times sit, my husband's very guilty of this. He'll sit there and go, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Really? Uh-huh. He's not listening to me. He's not actively listening, but he's showing me those kind of verbal and nonverbal cues to look like he's listening. Such a faker. Such a faker. So you get caught on that active listening though, when they ask you a question and you're like, Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Can you repeat that? So active listening is huge, and it's a really good thing to practice with in classes. If you're taking classes, active listening is huge with your patients. If you are a nurse and you go in and all you do is you stare at the chart while your patient is talking to you, that's not good active listening skills. That's not good bedside manner, right? You want to engage with your patient. Um, you want to be involved. You want to show care. You want to show compassion. And all of those things are done with nonverbal active listening skills. So, this is why, again, I think active listening is so important to being a nurse. And that's why I'm so glad they test it on the English exam. So, let's talk about how this relates to the English exam. Listening and the test. Tons of fun, right? So listening on the IELTS. For those of you who have not taken the IELTS, it's done in 4 parts. Listening is its own little section. It's between 40 minutes to 50 minutes, I believe, but it's 40 questions. There are 4 recordings. The first recording you're going to listen to is just a conversation between 2 people set in everyday social context. So 2 friends meeting over coffee type of situation. Recording 2 is a monologue. A monologue means that one person is talking. You're going to listen to one person's speech. And it's set in an everyday social context, but it's an extended speech of one person talking. It could be about local facilities. If you ever have a friend who rants and who just kind of has to like blow steam off or something like that, that they're monologuing. That's one person talking for an extended period of time. Recording 3 is a conversation between up to 4 people. So recording 3 to me is what can be the most confusing. And eventually down the road, I've got it coming up in Kari's Corner, I'm going to talk about note taking. So how do you take notes while all these people are talking? How do you organize that between person 1, 2, 3, and 4? Because it goes by so quickly. But it's set in an educational context. So it's usually like a university professor or tutor and students discussing some kind of an assignment. And the key with this is not necessarily like if they're talking about geology. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know a lot about geology. You don't have to know a lot about the subject matter. So don't get caught up in the subject matter. This is where those active listening, you're listening, truly engaging in what they say, trying to find the main idea of what they're talking about. And then finally, recording number 4, again, a monologue, an extended speech of one person talking, usually a professor, and it's a university lecture. Again, this one can be really hard because you get so caught up in the vocabulary and you're trying to understand and comprehend, and they're using words you don't know. Don't get caught up in understanding the vocabulary and what the words mean. As long as you can write them down, you're good. So let's move on to listening on the TOEFL. Listening on the TOEFL, very similar to listening on the IELTS. However, it is more academic. So you have 3 to 4 lectures. Some of them have classroom discussion, but each of them are 3 to 5 minutes in length. And then you have 6 questions following that lecture. You also have 2 to 3 conversations, each are 3 minutes, and you have 5 questions per conversation. So those conversations may, again, be more casual between 2 friends, and then you have 3 to 4 lectures. Tons of fun, right? All those academic things. And we all get so thrown off because you're like, I don't know anything about archaeology or geology or astrology or astronomy. Like, holy smokes, I don't know what they're talking about. Taking notes is going to be key through listening, okay? Active listening, taking notes, tons of fun. Don't worry, we'll talk about taking notes. The PTE is known for being very, very, very integrated. And what I mean by integrated is they're not just going to test your listening skills in the listening portion. They're also going to be testing your writing skills. They're going to be testing speaking skills. Everything is integrated all into one. But it is still considered the listening section. But just because it's a listening test, your listening skills, again, are still really, really important. So you are asked to do a variety of things. You are asked to summarize a spoken text. This can be verbally or it can be written. Multiple choice responses, you do have some of those. There is fill in the blank, so you'll be listening for the missing word in the blank. Choosing a correct summary. So that's reading, right? You're not writing the summary, you're listening to something, and then you have to go through and read and choose which summary best summarizes what you heard. Select a missing word, highlight an incorrect word. Talk about really active listening is you're looking and you're like, wait a minute, they said astronomy, not astrology. So which word is incorrect? And then writing from dictation. So they're going to speak to you and then you have to write it out. So like I said, listening on the PTE is not just listening. It is everything. So the PTE is only 2 hours long in total. So they integrate it all into one. So what are my tips and tricks for listening? What do I have for you? You're like, all right, Coop. Sorry, that over here, people call me Coop. That's fine. My last name's Cooper. So, all right, Kari, what do you have for tips and tricks? How am I going to get through this? Hello in Pakistan. Hello, Ambreen from Pakistan. Number one, this is true for every test, no matter what you're taking, IELTS, TOEFL, PTE, OET, MET, any of the T's, all of the T's. Practice, practice, practice. Yep. Take as many practice tests as you can get your hands on. That is huge. Hello in South Africa. We're so happy that you're here. The next thing is to follow instructions. And this is where actually a lot of people mess up in the listening portion. And I noticed that in my class, those of you who are enrolled in my class or enrolling in my class, a new class is getting ready to start. I know some of you are like, I've told my case manager I want to join. Why haven't I heard anything? Getting ready to start another class. Don't worry, don't worry. But following instructions, capitalization can count. Capitalization. Do they ask for one word? So many times I see in the directions one word, and many times people will answer with 2 or 3 words. And I'm like, no, that's automatically wrong. Even if one of your 2 or 3 words is the word they were looking for, it's wrong because you didn't follow the directions. Follow the directions. Very, very important. And then does it make sense? And that's where you get into grammar, right? Hello, Maxima in Nigeria. Grammar is so important. If you're filling in the sentence and they're looking for a verb, the rabbit ran blank across the lawn. You wouldn't say the rabbit ran yellow across the lawn. That's an adjective. Yellow is an adjective. It's telling you what color. You could say the yellow rabbit ran across the lawn, but no, you would not say the rabbit in the United States. I know that in Spanish, a lot of times the descriptor will come, was an important example. So it comes after the noun, right? So in Spanish, in the Spanish language, like if you say I have an important exam, you would say un examen importante. So importance at the end. But in English, we say an important exam. So you have the descriptor, the adjective before the noun. So knowing where these things are placed in the English language is really, really, really important. Grammar is very important in the listening portion. Knowing if they're looking for a verb, are they looking for a noun? And then what tense is it in? Is the rabbit, running quickly across the lawn? Or is it the rabbit, did it run quickly? It ran quickly. Did it do it in the past? Is it currently doing it? Is it going to be doing it? Is it doing it in the future? Pay attention to the tense of the word. That can also count the question wrong if you don't get the right grammatical response. Okay? Grammar is so important in listening. Pay attention to detail. Pay attention to all of the little nuances in there when you're listening to all the little details. Currently in Saudi Arabia, I'm guessing, but from Tanzania. Gertrude, hello, Gertrude. Hello from Canada. All right. Our director of case management, Marlo, is from Canada. So yay, Canada. We're happy you're here. But pay attention to detail in all of the questions, all of those little questions. And then finally, don't wait too long. So if you're doing a listening portion and it's kind of a fill in the blank as you go along, and you've been listening for a while and you notice like they haven't said the answer yet, you may have missed it, and that's possible. So that's why it's important to know, like, read 2 or 3 questions at a time so that you don't miss anything, because you can't go back. You can't hit pause. You can't hit rewind. It just keeps going, and it goes fast. I've taken many of these practice exams and I'm like, holy smokes, this is really fast. Wow. So read a few questions at a time. And if you notice that you've been waiting kind of a long time for a question, you may have missed it. So scan down a little bit just in case. Interested in joining our class and joining my class? That would be fantastic. I would love to have you. Please reach out to your case manager and let them know. If you're a nurse aide, we do not, you don't join the process until stage 9. And then RNs, you have the option to enroll in stage 3. Stage 3. So reach out to those case managers. They love hearing that you would like to take my class. So what can you do to improve? How can you practice other than going online and just taking practice tests over and over again, right? Well, one way to do this is listening to podcasts. Podcasts are free. They're totally free. You can find them all over the internet, and they have podcasts for everything. If any of you, so for example, if any of you are have specific religious beliefs or specific practices that you do, this is a great thing. So me personally, and my religious beliefs and my quiet time every day, I listen to kind of a little podcast and I do my reading, but I journal after it. I journal. Very fast. Yes, Emily. Yes, it goes by so fast. You are not even kidding. Even for native speakers, I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes. Sheesh. I'm in the South. So fun fact about the South is typically in the South, they say that we speak slower. And if you do go to certain areas, for example, my family is very Southern, like Southern Georgia, North Florida. That's very South in the United States. And they may talk like this. And it takes them a long time to get their sentences out. Right? They hang on to those vowel sounds for a very long time in the South. I try to do a good job of masking my Southern accent, but when my mom calls, it just immediately comes out. So, but talking about how are you going to improve? Keeping a journal. And when I say keep a journal, that means you got to write in English. Don't cheat. Don't cheat and write in your native language. Write a 1-sentence summary of what you heard after listening. That's it. That's going to help you in that sentence summary. Try to point out the main idea and 2 options, right? 2 supporting details of what you heard. And if you do this daily, you will notice that your listening skills are getting better, not just your listening skills, but your summarizing skills. And that's going to help you on every single test. Listen to different types of material. Listen to educational. If you're preparing for the IELTS and TOEFL, find podcasts or lectures on classes that you find. An archaeology lesson on YouTube. Find an astronomy lesson on YouTube. A professor talking. Do your best to kind of follow along with what they're saying. Make sure it's in English. Don't cheat. It's got to be in English. Do your best to follow along. Get used to hearing things that you're not going to understand every little thing they're talking about, right? But try to take notes. Put yourself back in those good old university days, those good old college days. Take notes as your professors are talking. Do your best. The biggest thing that I can say is to create a schedule and stick to it. A little thing called stick-to-itiveness, right? What is your ability to stick to something? Creating a schedule that focuses on listening. So for 10, 15 minutes, even 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, find a podcast that's like 5 to 8 minutes long. Find a lecture on YouTube that's 5 to 8 minutes long, and then write a summary of what you heard. You can do this at night. And I know that when you guys go to bed at night or in the morning, because I know you guys work crazy shifts, right before you fall asleep, I know most people don't genuinely hit the bed and immediately go to sleep. That would be nice. Most of us spend time doing what? We're scrolling. We're scrolling on Instagram. We're scrolling on TikTok. We're watching YouTube. So use 5 to 10 minutes of that time. Keep a notebook by your bed. Listen to something in English. Write down what you listen to. You will be so shocked at how dedicating just 5 to 10 minutes of your day to listening and summarizing something will improve your listening skills. I promise you. I promise you. But you have to be dedicated to do it. You have to have that, what I call stick-to-itiveness. You have to have that. And you have to stick to it. Hold yourself accountable. Make yourself a sticker chart if that's what you need. Or one thing that I do, because I have my favorite thing in the entire world is Reese cups. Specifically like Reese, I don't know if you guys have these all over the world, but the Reese company, they're peanut butter and chocolate. And Easter time, they come out in shapes and they're eggs. Reese eggs, for some reason, are, whoa, they're mind blowing. And I will go when after Easter and after, everything's on sale, and I buy like 50 bags of Reese peanut butter eggs. And that's like how I do my stick-to-itiveness. I can't have my Reese egg until I've done X, whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish. Like for right now, I'm learning Spanish, and I have the Duolingo app, and I have to complete my Spanish lesson for the day. I got to do my 5 minutes on Duolingo before I can have my Reese egg. You have to hold yourself accountable. So find whatever it is, the little carrot on the stick that's going to get you to practice 5 to 10 minutes a day listening. You can do it. I fully believe in that. I fully believe in you. Well, all right. For those of you who watch Looney Tunes, I don't know if that's just an American thing, but you would have Porky Pig come on in the end and go, that's all, folks. So that is all for today. That is all we have for Kari's Corner today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. Thank you for taking the first step in wanting to improve your English abilities and wanting to improve your English skills. We at Worldwide are here to support you. We are here to help you, encourage you, cheer you on, whatever you need. We're here to support you, but you have to go on that journey. You have to do the work. And we're going to be there every step of the way to cheer you on. So thank you for being a part of the Worldwide family. We are so happy that you stumbled into Kari's Corner today. But in conclusion, as I always say, don't face the corner. It's time to face the world, and let Worldwide help you do that. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week. Over and out.